And out of nowhere, completely dressed up just like Tommy Shelby,
My name is Thomas Shelby.
came this bloke, spoke like Thomas Shelby, told me what was wrong with it. Right, welcome back to the next one. Gearbox time. Engine's complete, as you can see over my shoulder there, if you've already seen the video. If not, click here somewhere and you'll be able to see those two-part video of putting it back together. It's not a guide, it's just what I did, so, and a bit of a rant. So gearboxes, notice how I say gearboxes. So strange thing happened. I live in or just outside of Birmingham, so if anybody who's anybody has heard of the Peaky blinders. Now a few months back, beginning of this year in fact, I was having some problems with the Maggy and I broke down on the side of the road just around the corner from where I live, and out of nowhere, completely dressed up just like Tommy Shelby.
My name is Thomas Shelby, and today I'm going to kill a man.
Came this bloke, spoke like Thomas Shelby, told me what was wrong with it, and he was right. I fixed it, and he went on his merry way. It was a bit surreal, yet then something strange happened. The other day I was out on the drive just tinkering around with the modern car, and he appeared again. This time he was asking me how I was getting on with it since we'd done the thing. I told him it's all good, but gearbox has gone typically, so the engine and gearbox are out. He then persisted to tell me that, well, I've got a gearbox, a 1100 rib cage gearbox, that's come out of mine. It's absolutely perfect, it's just that first and reverse is really noisy. It still works, still drives, but really noisy. And my first, second and third and reverse is perfect, but fourth keeps skipping out. So he offered me the gearbox for free. He says, mate, take the gearbox, have it, and make a good one out of the pair. And then what you decide to do with the carcass of the other one is up to you. So hence why, let me just switch the microphone so you can actually hear me. Hence why I have two gearboxes. This one here is my gearbox, and this one here is the Peaky blinder himself, his gearbox. My gearbox has been all cleaned and everything. That's why it looks a little bit cleaner than this one over here. This one he took out of his 1958 Morris Minor split screen, or 56 split screen, that's got an 1100 engine conversion in it. So he had the 1100 engine, same as mine, same as that one there, and the rib cage gearbox against it, ribbed gearbox, rib cage, whatever you want to call it. And as he said, it's just very noisy. So this is now locked in first gear. Let me spin that round so you can hear it. I need to spin the microphone again. It's the only problem with having mics on top. You end up doing strange things. Right, so if you listen. So as you can probably tell from that, this one is really noisy in first and reverse. All the other gears it's fine. Mine is silent and really quite smooth in every gear, even fourth actually, but for some reason it keeps popping out of fourth. Now a few of you have commented on the videos and said that it could be various different things, but somebody did mention a worn spigot bearing, which, yes, you could be right. And in all of this packaging somewhere I have a new spigot bearing to go in the engine, because when I separated the engine and gearbox I can't actually remember taking one out. So maybe it was worn away or missing or what, I'm not sure. But there is a little bit of play in the shaft, but I was worried about the play in the shaft, but everybody's told me not to panic about that because the spigot bearing takes the slack out of it. All I've got to do is make sure that there's no play the rest of the way down the gearbox. So my plan is I'm going to take these two apart, starting with the donor gearbox, and see if I can make a good one out of the two. It may work, it may not. I may need to order some parts. You know, if I'm taking it apart, I might as well put new bearings in it. So I might need to order a few bits. So this might be a two-parter as well, because I'll be waiting for parts. But we'll see. Let's give it a go. Right, I'll film this on the phone because this tends to focus a little bit better than the action cam that we use. Great little cameras, by the way, just not very good at focusing close up. So it turns out that the freebie gearbox it's not in great condition. It looks like it's been in water. First gear, which is this one just here, is completely shot. Very similar story to this one here. It's also shot, and the reverse idler is, he says, so much better for focusing, there we go, is also shot. The inside of this gearbox is really, really good. This is my gearbox, so I was a bit baffled as to why it's keeps skipping out and forth, but you see me there, I just put a drill on it, spun it up, tried it in all of the gears. That shifter part is off the other gearbox because mine's missing the nylon cap, and I'm sure it's probably somewhere, but I don't know where. Anyway, but it turns out that I think all the problems and all the woes are a completely failed bearing. It's I don't know how much you'll see, but it's got, I mean, you can hear it. There's bearings missing. It looks like it's just completely disintegrated. Fortunately, it's not dropped into the gearbox, which is nice. All I've got to do is try and work out if I can get the bearing out without having to dismantle the whole gearbox, because I don't really want to do that if I can get away with it. But you know, the fourth gear idler and bearing off the auxiliary gearbox, the other gearbox, sorry, not the auxiliary gearbox, that'd be cool, wouldn't it? Is not bad, but I'd rather just replace the bearing on mine, I think. Right then, so revelations. Obviously, as you've seen on the other video, the bearing had completely collapsed. See, all of the balls are actually not spaced correctly. It is moving. I did say there was a bit of play in the shaft. So I think the issue with it popping out fourth might have just been that bearing, because everything else is mint. Reverse and the reverse idler is fine. Final output shaft is fine. All of these other gears that I don't know the name of, they're all fine and in good condition. The one on the other box, the donor box, first gear is completely annihilated, and the reverse gear is also all chewed up, so that's obviously why it's noisy. Now I could just swap the fourth gear and input shaft off the other gearbox, because actually it's in pretty good nick, but the bearing is noisy, so if I'm going to do it I might as well put a new bearing in it. So I'll stick a new bearing in it. I'll order some parts now. I need to order bearing, gaskets, some other bits and bobs, just to finish it off the gearbox so I can get it back together, and then hopefully that will cure the problem, because there's no wear in anything. I mean, you can see it's completely stripped down into every last component, and there is no wear or movement on any of the components. So the only thing I can think of is, because that bearing has destroyed itself, fourth gear, high speed, high revolutions in the gearbox is causing it to vibrate and knocking itself out of gear. That's the only thing I can think of, because first, second and third is fine. It's just for fourth that's giving me the grief. And it can't just be coincidental that the input shaft bearing is completely destroyed. So I'm going to go with that as the possibility of the issue. So I'm going to go away and order some parts, wait for them to come back, and then we'll see you in part 2 of this video, where we put this thing back together, hopefully, fingers crossed. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe, give us a like if you like the video, and we'll see you in the next one.